Hi folks, today's 29th of July, I think it's a Tuesday, 2025. So I've had a few people say that I got arrested on Saturday. Oh, are you thick or what? Now, first of all, are you this thick not to realise I upload all the video? First of all, there's the live feed, then there's the GoPro footage, and then there's usually I've uploaded the a better version from the live feed, because sometimes during the live feed things can go a bit, if transmission error, and you might not see everything. So I always try and upload the full video unedited. So you're really thick when you come out with your lies, because it's there. If I was arrested, it'd be on camera. You know, how thick can you be? Now, you're thick because once you start lying, all you're doing is making yourself look like morons. Now, I then call you liars. Well, the people who've said it anyway. Liar, liar, liar. That's all you are. Liars. Dishonest. And you've got no credibility. You're no longer good people. You're just, you know, that you've lost any sense of morality. And the thing is, how can you then post things about, Palestine, Gaza, etc.? Because people ain't going to believe you. They'll say, oh, that's that person who lies. So why aren't they lying about other things? And the other factor is you're then dragging other people into it, because people will then associate other people in the protests as liars. Because they'll saying about if she lies, maybe the others are. And what's going on? Why are these lies? Why are they saying lies about me being arrested? I mean, it was bizarre to read that. Now, what happened, all that happened was, I was filming, as you know. It was an interesting day, because there was this guy, I think he thought he was trying to intimidate me, was walking around, Mr. Muscles, thinking he was intimidating me, and I'm just laughing at him all the way through. But, by the way, I know the little game. Now, let me explain what they do. The game is to try and work you up, put pressure on you to react, because what they want is you to say something or assault one of them, and then they can play the victim. They can get you arrested and try and shut you down. Now, I've known this for the last year or so I don't bite. That's why I don't interact. I just sit back. The only time I interact is when they start on me, because then they've got lost any, they did it first. And it's shown on camera, so that's why I just film everything. And by the way, I'm here neutral. Most people in the protest know I'm neutral. But, of course, some people are too thick. There's a lot of thick people there who, they're so prejudiced, so bigoted, they see anyone with a camera, they think they're right-wing or taking an opposing side or whatever. Now, the sensible thing, folks, is just leave me be. Let me just film and I'll walk home. And people might think, some people support you and some people might not. And you might notice on the live feeds and things, you get people on both sides posting views. Some people are supportive, some people are against. But what's happening is, when they act like this, they lose sympathy, they lose credibility. Now, whenever people start blocking the camera, it's because they know they're up to no good. That's what you do. And it started, you might have seen, what happened was, all of a sudden something happened. I don't know, I've been accused of witnessing something. Well, you can see from the footage, I didn't witness nothing. I just walked around and saw all these people acting what I consider inappropriately, thuggishly around the police, instead of just walking away. The behaviour was appalling. It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. People in there were panicked. I saw children crying because they were panicked, they were upset. But these people are narcissists, you've got to understand. What you realise is, and you might have seen it over the years, when the last 2 years, it started off with a huge group. Many, I suspect, maybe did support the pro-Palestinian Gaza situation. But it got hijacked by just a few. And what's happened is there's a remainder of people who are narcissists, I suspect, in most cases, who don't really care about Gaza or Palestine. They care about being seen, to pretend to care. And they made it all about themselves, so it's all showmanship. And the other factor is they, for some bizarre reason, they walk around with convicted racists. So a lot of people now see them as some sort of KKK hate group. It's very strange. They're certainly not, I don't, in my opinion, left wing. I mean, it's all very strange. Is the Leeds group? They've, you know, compared to others, and I've said it before, the Manchester ones are fairly pretty decent people. I don't have that many problems there. Sheffield, they're horrible. Sheffield, they're full of fascists. They self-confess. You saw it on one of the videos. This guy he was that thick, he thought that he would shut me down. He wanted to stop the press, which is, by definition, fascism. He was a fascist. He was enjoying the fascism, you see. And a lot of these people, you might have noticed, who pretend to be left-wing, are basically fascist thugs who don't care about anything. It's just about their own narcissistic, I can't speak now, I'm full of cold still. It's just full of the hate and prejudice. And of course we see it a lot, don't we? I mean, it was like when I went to the Wakefield so-called trade union, where they wouldn't let us in because we was working class, and they said, no, not for you, not for you, we're only for the middle class, we hate the working class. You can see it there, the hatred they had for us. Most refreshing to see them admit to it on camera. And they, you know, the people said, oh, wasn't it ticketed? No, it wasn't, because I saw everyone walk in without being any tickets shown or anything. You just walk in, as long as you're middle class. But the working class, scum, you see, they hate the working class. And it was joyous for them to show the world how they reacted to the working class. Now, what happened on this thing? I was just stood there filming. And of course, they knew the narrative. They wanted to play victimhood. That was the game. Oh, we're victims. You see, that's the game. It's all just one big game. It's all about propaganda. They want to put in the news that something happened. And they get upset. I mean, one of the reasons they get upset is because I film it and they can't use the propaganda in the way they want. It's a bit like, you might have seen it around the country, they were doing this pots and pans thing. Well, some groups quite large, and they publicised it and said, look, this is a big group. Well, you saw how tiny the Leeds one was. They did it twice, one on Thursday and one on Friday at 6, and there was hardly anyone there. You might have seen it. So they couldn't really, you know, my footage showed there was very few there, but I noticed they put out a bit of footage. They angled it to make it look a bit busier than it was. It wasn't. Mainly because what they'd done was something rather silly, and they sent, and they're doing it again on Friday, sorry, they're promoting, sending people to this hotel in Leeds, so they'll lose some of their normal people just to stand there pointlessly, doing a pointless counter-protest, completely pointless, but again, narcissistic, you know, it's, gosh, aren't I here doing something wonderful? It's just a waste of time. You're just wasting everyone's time, but you know, the sensible thing would have been just to keep everyone in Leeds doing the pots and pans thing. At least that way they'd got quite a few and it'd look bigger. But instead they want to thin it out. And people were laughing at them. I mean, it was they were laughing on Thursday and they were wetting themselves Friday. I saw everyone walking past. They were just laughing at them. It looked ridiculous. They just made fools of themselves. It was bizarre. It was very narcissistic. Anyway, but what happened was this bloke, obviously they were trying to stop me filming, but it were the ones that I knew. I sort of give credit to, you know, the women that did it. They know the game. You know, we play along. They like to sometimes play silly games. It didn't make them look good. So, I mean, they were, but, you know, on this occasion, I don't think they behaved very well. They made themselves look foolish. They've acted better in the past, but they've started to act rather foolishly in recent. You know, it was like that woman who called me the other week in, where was it? I forget. It was some town outside Leeds, where I got assaulted, and she said on camera she thought it was acceptable and it's part of the game that I get assaulted. And then she called me a Nazi. Well, you know, she let herself down there. Really did. I was quite disappointed in her behaviour, but again, this is the way she wants to expose herself on camera. I mean, again, they let the others down in the group because some of the women who were from the area who didn't know us started reacting and assaulted me and News Now Yorkshire. Now, they could have said to them, we know these people, just let them film. But instead they sacrificed them, demonstrating that they don't care about other people, just themselves. That was shocking. That actually was a more disturbing aspect. It was just egotistical. You could see it when you see me chatting to them. It's all about themselves. They're not bothered about other people. You could tell most of them didn't really care about Gaza, Palestine. It's just pretense. But on this Saturday, this Specky Four Eyes thing joins in. Bit thick. He's obviously the type who got bullied at school and has no friends. And he tries to assault me by pushing this post in my face. Not going to happen. There's a little tip. If I class that as a threat and an assault, so I'll always rip the poster or flag or whatever out your hands. Sorry if it upsets you, don't do it. If you throw a flag in at my face, I take that as an offensive weapon and I'm going to rip it out your hands. Don't give a rat's ass. You're an idiot. But if that's the game you want to play... Oh, someone's coming, hang on. I'll just wait for them to pass. Dog walkers, I'll just... Hang on. Oops. It's alright, they're both friendly. Ignore them. Oh, shut up. They're idiots. Oh, Millie, don't bully the little dog. Oh, that's what she likes to do, bully timid dogs. Yeah, you're a bully, Millie. Don't be nasty. Ignore her, she's a bully. He'll bark, but he won't do anything. Oh, now, Millie, you've scared him off.
He's normally very friendly, Milo.
But this one's massive. You see, they get panicky. He's friendly, but he barks and they panic because of his size. And look, that's what, can you see what she's doing? She's stopping him walking. That's what a bully she is. Millie, that's bullying. I hope you get bit one day. She's trying to be clever. Oh, shut up, Marchie. You'll be winding him up. Yeah, she's a bully. She wants to bully. No, Archie, you're bullying now. Sorry, you can tell her jerks. See, that's what she likes to do, is upset dogs that are timid.
He's
Millie.
not normally timid, Milo.
Yeah, but look at the size of him. That's what panics them. No, he's a bully. But if people panic because of his size, he wants to play. The trouble is, if I let him go, he can knock people over. See what can see? This is trying to bully. No, Millie, that's not nice. No, you're a bully. Sorry. Come on, Millie, that was awful, that. You're a bad girl. Don't pretend to be a nice little girl when you're not. Sorry. That dog was called Milo. We know a Milo. Where was he up to? Oh, yeah. So, this Becky Four Eyes tries it on, pushes this post in my face. Sorry, I'm just stood there filming. Now, again, it demonstrates he's a fascist because he's trying to stop the media. That's fine. You know, you find in a lot of these people, and they pretend to be left-wing, they're just fascists. And he's exposed himself to be a fascist because he believes in censorship of the media, the press, which, if you Google the definition of fascism, which I always upset them by pointing this out, I can bring it up over and over, it literally says that. If you try and prevent the press, you're a fascist. That's the definition. And so, there we go. And he gets upset, does Specky Four Eyes, going, don't touch me. Well, sorry. When you do that, I'm going to defend myself. You're a bit of a weak little man. And he hid behind the women, I noticed, demonstrating what a pathetic little loser he was. You can tell he's a type who got, even at school, I've said it before, I was a bit of a nerd, bottom of the class, but even we had a pecking order. Specky Four Eyes like that were below us. We wouldn't have that. Horrible person. But no, it happened. The police said, do you want to move? And I said no, because I was laughing at Specky Four Eyes. What a threat. I mean, even the policemen were laughing because he knew this Specky Four Eyes was zero threat. What were we going to do? Worry about Specky Four Eyes doing anything? He wet his pants. He hid behind the girls like a little wuss he was. The Specky Four Eyes probably did that at school. Probably used to getting his head pushed down the toilet at school because he's a Specky Four Eyes. Specky. Anyway, that's it. But you can see it on the video, nothing happens. But, just a few other things. You might have noticed was the thing at Essex, which would have been a non-event, but for some reason they had this bloke there, they presumably hired, who looks like a thug. Now, why do these left-wing people want thugs on their side? But he comes along and he's trying to block the press, and as you know, that makes him a fascist. He's not left-wing. I think somebody said he was part of Socialist Worker. Well, is that what Socialist Worker is? Fascist thugs like that? Is that what you want to be associated with? Great. Great. Because the whole world saw that. They saw this horrible, fascist, ugly man. I mean, you remind me of them football guys who like to go around sexually assaulting me and assaulting others and following us and because they're fascist thugs. I mean, one of the things I've said, and this is a little tip, if you're a thick fascist thug, your parents are probably brother and sister, you're not very bright, you're full of rage and anger, and you just want to hurt people and act like a fascist, pretend to be left-wing. Clearly, if he is part of Socialist Workers, they must welcome people like that. They must welcome fascist thugs on their side. Great. Well, that's sort of the impression you really want to give. Because I'll tell you something. When people around the world watch them videos, they weren't thinking, oh, the protesters who were demonstrating against the migrants, they weren't thinking they were the bad people. They looked at that guy and thought, oh my God, is that the sort of scum we have in England? And unfortunately, yes, it is. Because I've had people say it. They said, my goodness, what is he? He's not left-wing. They actually didn't believe me when I was saying, no, apparently he is. They said, no, surely he's the sort of person, we have them, really thick, horrible, fascist, thicko thugs. And I says, no, that's apparently what represents this sort of modern-day fake left-wing. They like to associate themselves with thugs and violence and nastiness and blocking the media. Anything that basically the Nazi Party did and believed in seems to be what these people believe in. Blocking the media, violence, harassment. Oh dear, wonderful, isn't it? These are the horriblest people. I mean, it was the part, again, I went to, as you saw, the protest in Manchester. I was neutral. I mean, most people know I'm not really bothered one way or other. I mean, I've just said, all I see is as long as, if people commit crime, they shouldn't be here. I don't really hold a view. But of course, these people were bigoted. They saw me and called me all sorts of names as if I was, I don't take sides. And I tried to explain that. But they were so bigoted. They saw me and thought because I'm working class, I must be a violent person like themselves. I mean, admittedly, they weren't particularly violent, that group. The guy on the speaker was, by his voice. I mean, what he was saying was disgusting. Calling people Nazis and stuff, it just didn't really, it sounded awful. They were trying to, you could tell, again, the tactics was they wanted to create tension and they wanted to boil things up, which was an awful thing. That's not left-wing, is it, folks? That was dreadful. I mean, these people can't claim to be left-wing. And I actually don't think they were genuine because I watched them turn up and leave. They didn't even bother with the people in that hotel. And, if they'd actually cared about them, maybe they'd have brought some food or snacks from or, came, chatted to them. But I never saw any interaction. They were a bit bogus in their beliefs. I certainly didn't get the impression they were really there for the migrants. In fact, we know they weren't fully there for the migrants because they started chanting about trans rights and all sorts of strange things. They were calling two women who were lesbians Nazis. Are these people moronically thick or what? They were calling me a racist and I was born in Zambia. I thought, and they were claiming that migrants or whatever welcome there. Well, they didn't welcome me, did they, folks? Surely I would be like the person they would welcome. I'm probably the most foreign one there. It's ridiculous. But anyway, we'll leave it there, folks. Somebody's going to go, it's pouring down, starting to rain. I just thought I'd do a quick vid, just to update. Hang on, I'll just wait till people pass. 1 sec. Dun, dun, dun. just somebody running past. Sometimes when you get people running past backwards, you know, from behind, it doesn't have to make me jump. You know, you're walking along and suddenly, whoosh, someone's gone past. Doesn't have to make you jump, folks. But anyway, I'll leave it there. But, you know, these people that thick, what do you think I'm going to do? Not make a video? You're just giving me an excuse to make another video and make you look, and you know, these people end up looking stupid and whatever, but that's up to them. But again, you know, if you want to make accusations, back it up with evidence, especially when, you know, if I ain't got the video, and maybe you could make up lies about me, but, you know, have a bit of sense, folks. Again, little tip, one, don't harass me when I'm filming, or any YouTuber for that matter, because it's not going to look good. I'm just there to film neutral. Sorry. Oh, and by the way, again, you know, somebody asked me, what, you know, am I taking sides? No, I'm neutral. And by the way, actually, even if I was fully pro-Palestinian, I couldn't support the Leeds one because of them walking with convicted racists. I don't want to be associated with that. You know, that's why a lot of people dropped out. Who wants to be associated with a hate group? Are you this thick? Are you stupid? You have to be really thicko, stupid people. I mean, honestly, I keep saying, you know, I keep asking them why they ignore me then. They never respond. I go, why are you walking with racists? Why are you making yourself look like the KKK or whatever, or something more extreme? It doesn't make sense, but that's up to them. But again, fully understand I could never support a group that associates themselves with racists, because, you know, technically it would be argued, I think you could argue that makes them a racist group, a hate group. You know, it was like that silly daft woman a few weeks ago when she stood there saying, we fight racism, or we're against racism, and she stood literally a couple of feet from a racist, convicted racist. And she looked stupid. I mean, I haven't seen her since. I mean, I've been looking forward to laughing at her, how ridiculous she sounded, because she did. She came across as moronic. And people have laughed at her over that. They've gone, is that true? As she stood there next to her. And I went, yes. She's pretending that she's fighting racism, and she stood next to one. Clearly she was you know, how can she be making out that she's some sort of anti-racist when she stood next to one? You can't. You know, I mean, that is moronic. But that's the difference between me and her. I do fight racism. You know, I'm an anti-racist. I wouldn't want to be associated with racists, but this group does. They're proud, even, you know, and by the way, if you don't know, they were that proud of his racist conviction. A few days or weeks later, whatever it was, they made him a steward as a reward. They said, look at this is our group. We are proud he's got convicted of assaulting a Jewish gentleman. We're proud of it, they said, by doing that. I mean, that is bizarre. I mean, how ridiculous. But anyway, that's up to them. But you've got to understand, when this group whinge at me going, why aren't you taking our side? Well, I couldn't, could I, folks? How can I? You know. Oh, but we want you to edit the videos to make us look nice. Oh, that's not going to happen. Sorry. But again, you know, here's a little tip. Behave. You know, if you're doing a protest, here's a little tip. You just walk around. You don't harass people. You don't scream at them. You know, you walk around, do your chants, and that's it. Nobody complains. You don't harass me. You don't harass other YouTubers. You know, if people give you grief, ignore them. I do. When that Mr. Muscles guy, who thought it was intimidating, because I don't know if you can hear him, he calls me a racist. He says I'm a racist on camera. I'm not sure if the camera picked it up, but he does say it. Just as we get to the McDonald's on Saturday. Again, you might hear it on one of the videos. I'm not sure. I haven't really listened. And it was trying to intimidate me. I just ignored him. I smiled because I'm better than that. That's what you do. You don't bite. But, you know, if you're violent, don't go on a protest. It's not a good thing. Anyway, I'll leave it there. We've done our little speech, haven't we, folks? And these people are that thick, they've given me the opportunity to, you know, make them look stupid again. I mean, how stupid can you get? Oh, well, that's up to them. Bye.